Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first of many artist interviews to come here at The Range. My name is Maddie.
And I'm Logan.
And today we're joined by the band Quitting Whitney, a rock duo from Los Angeles. We had the pleasure of working with them back in March when their tour with fellow band and close friends Ships Have Sailed got cancelled. But despite the cancellation of their tour, they were able to stop by The Range and film a live session, which will be linked down in the description below. So, how you guys doing today?
We're doing all right. I have to say, your voice is very conducive to podcasts.
Yeah. Wow, thank you.
You have a natural gift for this already.
Soothing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've been working on it my whole
very
life.
Official.
Why did you never do radio?
I mean, that's a good question. Well, I've been working on it my whole life.
Would be falling all over you with giant contracts.
Thank you. I appreciate that greatly.
But yeah, we're good. We're in the studio.
Yeah.
Logan saw. Yeah, we just did a live session. Been working on our engineering skills to get like decent sounding audio through Instagram, which is hard.
It's funny what you need, with the skills you need to have to be a band nowadays. Like music is last on the list. You have to be a marketing expert, a AV expert, a lighting expert, grip, gaff, everything all in one, especially now, just to create enough stuff to stay relevant barely.
Yeah, feel that 100%.
We've definitely discovered that over here too, just like trying to shift things to all online and not doing live shows anymore at the venue. It's been hard.
Yeah,
it's been a big adjustment.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine owning a venue. It's a big adjustment for us too. And we were only playing a show once a week, every other week, or something like that. So for a venue, I'm sure it's like a lot harder.
But yeah, definitely. Maddie, if you want to go ahead and get into some of the questions here.
All right, well, we do have some amazing questions that we have lined up for you guys. So, what has life... Not trying to hype it up or anything, but what's life like living in Los Angeles during the pandemic?
Do you want to go first? Give your opinion.
Sure.
It's the end of times.
The end of times. Look, I think that Los Angeles and California, it's in a particularly interesting spot.
Yeah.
We jumped into the self-isolation bus early on first.
Yeah.
Which I arguably could save a lot of people, and I think that's good. Of course, being the entertainment capital of the world, Los Angeles in particular is like there's a ton of people who live off of making stuff freelance and making ends meet by doing live events and doing hospitality and
that's huge.
Lodging and entertainment is obviously it's massive, and to have that just come to a grinding halt, I do think that Los Angeles in particular is we're kind of just like in a question mark mode. From folks that I've talked to or in the entertainment industry, I think they have gotten some help from the government.
Yeah.
And it has come through relatively quickly-ish. I know we've seen a lot of reports on the radio and on the news where it's just like taking forever because their systems are outdated.
Yeah.
But I do know that some people have gotten some semblance of support.
Right.
But I do think that it does highlight the fact, this pandemic highlights the fact that bands in Los Angeles might be struggling, pre-pandemic to get a show, and might be kind of upset about the guarantee they're getting from the door or whatever. But when you see giant venues struggling just weeks after this shutdown took place, it just doubles down and makes you realize just how thin the margins are for live music venues and live music in particular. Right. And we're seeing that kind of play out. And so although people are sort of kind of waiting with bated breath here, it doesn't really help when we see places like the Troubadour putting up GoFundMes.
Sure.
Yeah.
That is frightening. That's frightening.
Like a place that literally like Led Zeppelin, Tom Petty, Bob Dylan,
Billie
Elton
Eilish
John had his
like a
biggest
couple. You know,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
if venues like that are shutting down, it's like shit.
Like,
Yeah.
I think it just further highlights the fact that like, and I'm sure that there are people out there that are like, well, how don't they have savings?
Yeah.
But I think but
when you're independent, like an artist, like I think, you know, like I always hate not getting paid at shows or getting paid very low.
Yeah.
But like I don't know if we haven't done this as Quitting Whitney, but in a band I was in prior to LA, like we rented out a space, we sold tickets to it, we paid the bartender, we paid the door guy.
Wow, yeah.
And like we barely broke, you know, like we got to understand at least a little bit of a side to that. It was like even though we sold like 100-something tickets, it was like after we were like paying the bartender, after we were like let a few people in, you know, our friends in or whatever free, and like it was just like, you know, we and paid the other bands, like gave the other bands each like $100.
Sure,
we were like, oh my god, gave ourselves like $20. We were like,
Yeah.
put in like
I understand
days of like, you know, booking and like making sure we had a good sound engineer and all that. And but yeah, sorry, that's a little off topic. But yeah, LA's
I think everyone basically imagine like a city of like all the residents of Sim City with like question marks over their head. Like, what do we do
that's
now?
A perfect analogy there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, kind of on that topic of like, well, don't these venues have savings? Has there been any kind of like backup plan in place for you guys? Like, were you prepared at all for kind of what was going to hit, or have you more like hunkered down and just continue to drive forward with even more force?
No.
We're very much cognizant that we're sort of a younger band as far as awareness.
Yeah.
You know, savings as a business, as a band business. No, man. There was not a whole lot in the contingency plan.
Yeah.
When you're just getting kind of the gears going, like playing with you guys at the range, that tour was supposed to be sort of like
that was our first our first tour out of California.
Sort of ground zero.
Oh, wow.
Set the stage.
That was a pretty big.
Yeah.
We were very excited about it.
We were looking for. We have faith in our sound and our stage presence and our shows.
Sure.
And we were looking like that tour was supposed to kind of like put together this hopefully core fan base that is so essential to existing as a band. Like
because we have a good fan base in LA, but like building it outside of there, especially as like a rock band, like you can try to do it on the internet as much as you want, but it's hard. Like, you know, like there's different things and
it's all about getting people to finally see you. And
and when
see you, they realize
Ships Have Sailed is like a super dope band, and like they like I reached out to them because again I've played with them like in another band in LA, but like just super cool guys, and when they said yes, I was like, okay, this is like something real. Because I don't know if you've seen, they've been releasing a bunch of new music. It's doing super well.
Yeah, I've been keeping up with them. They've been
they're
making
really
sure that they're staying
around
up to date with their fans.
Yeah, I mean, Logan, going off what you said, like tour is important for, you know, new people to see you, but I think for us it was more important for us to see them, to spend time with potentially new fans after the show, before the set, in places that we don't live and markets that we are not necessarily a part of, like the music ecosphere. It's different. Creating that super fan is like hanging out and having a drink or having a moment with them outside on the streets, and then saying like, hey, I'm about to play a show inside. If you want to come join, like, I'll buy a ticket or just come inside. And like that moment, that human to human connection is what we're looking forward to doing in Albuquerque and Aspen and Denver, in Las Vegas and all these places that that chance was just kind of stripped away. Which is a bummer. And that's what we were hoping to do. And a lot of the advice that's given out nowadays is like, engage with your fans to do XYZ online. It's like, well, we were trying to build that base.
Respond to their comments. It's like, well, that's not really.
It's not really.
That's not really gonna cut it.
Not right now.
A lot of the time. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know I've been messaging you guys and like keeping up to date, and we've been, you know, talking back and forth. And as soon as things are okay to, or like as soon as it's okay to have a show, you are obviously welcome back. Like we want to help facilitate that re-enter into the world, essentially.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've honestly talked even like during the tour with Ships Have Sailed, and we were kind of like, damn, like this tour was well planned. Most of the venues were really good. There's, you know, I'm not gonna name names. There was some at the beginning that maybe like we could have booked better, but we do like want to do the same run again because like you know, like I'm from the East Coast, Ryan is as well. That touring route is a piece of cake. Like you have a city every hour, whereas touring from LA is like, it's pretty complex. And we came up with a route that at least like we're not driving like 8 hours a day. Like we were only driving like 3 or 4 hours, get to a city. And like, not that I'm knocking East Coast. You know, all my friends now are in East Coast bands. Like I moved out here 2 years ago, but you do have that advantage of like you can just go up and down the East Coast forever, and you don't have to go more than an hour. Like you
don't have to go
New York,
the desert.
Pittsburgh, Philly. I mean,
what are some of those other? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no. Just
what are some of those other factors that you guys like you see as most important when you're planning that tour route? Like, is it really highlighted on not driving as much every day, or is it like you want to hit special venues you have heard about or that you have been to that you want to hit again? Like what are those key factors?
We're a baby band, you know, like we've been around for barely a year. We played our first show really in a year ago, like in March.
Okay.
And then we played what like managers or something would call like our first real show, which is like where you kind of attract like a few industry people there or whatever, was in August. So it hasn't even been a year since that. So when we were initially booking the tour, I was just like, literally anyone that will have us where we don't have to drive 8 hours.
Within reason, of course.
Within reason. And like we were trying to get into South by Southwest, and that like they like just, I don't know, they were kind of shitty. Like, I don't know, they just waited a really long time, and then they ended up getting canceled anyways. So we were like,
we know that there's a lot in their minds when they're making these decisions. Yeah, we get that. But
we were like being super careful. We had planned out, we were playing a festival up in Denver. We were just like planning out this route to Denver, and then when South by fell through, we were like, shit. Like, we don't want to just like drive back. So we hit up you guys. Which I think y'all are like the only venue in Las Cruces, right?
Pretty much doing what we're doing. There's other places to play. There's always a bar to play at, but there's no dedicated music venue.
I think y'all are the only like. I was really banking on you guys too. I was like, oh my god, we're gonna have to drive so far if these guys don't book.
I'm glad we were able to pull through for you. We ended up doing 3 live sessions that day because we just did all the live sessions that we were going to do the show, and we were just like, well, if you guys want to just come in anyway and film, like I don't see why not.
And props for that, man. That was great.
Seriously, like that saved us. Especially, I mean, we were like considering turning back. I know I spoke to you, Logan, on the phone when we were in Denver, and we were talking about, because we had basically like, we had a show in Aspen, we had a show in Denver that didn't cancel, and then they canceled like less than 24 hours before. Like we were on the way to the show, so we ended up just getting like to Denver like through a blizzard, and we were like pretty much stuck there. Like you and I were calling, and like obviously like we understood like anything that anyone would have said. It's like, you know what, this is out of our control, but we were really happy for that, and like because of that, like we ended up filming a music video. With that spare time. Like if we had just headed back, we never would have done that. That hit 5,000 views yesterday, which is like,
that's awesome.
More than more than our channel has done probably in total.
Thank you to everyone who watched that video.
Yeah, we were gonna bring that up, but I'm glad you guys brought it up.
We filmed it now.
What was that filming process like? I saw you did it. Was it like in an Airbnb that you were renting out?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Ships Have Sailed, I don't know if we should be telling everyone this, but Ships Have Sailed also has like a twin video coming out for one of their songs.
Okay.
Sneak peek.
Which was also filmed in the same Airbnb.
Yeah, you might have to edit that part out. We're not sure about their whole publicity team.
It'll just be redacted in the final video.
What'd you say?
It'll just be a like whole section of the video that's redacted, and we'll just...
Yeah, it's a whole
anything.
Maybe not. Just like bleep them out. But so look, we I mean, think about it. Like, picture yourself. You're cruising along in a van, and every 15 minutes, a van on tour with a bunch of guys you kind of barely know, other than like the bandmate that you're with. And every 15 minutes, your phone's getting hit up with either a news bleep or something from like a friend or a girlfriend or a wife, whatever, and saying like, hey, this just happened. Hey, I can't find toilet paper.
His girlfriend hit him up randomly. Was like, yeah, I went to the grocery store. There's no toilet paper. And at the time, we were just like, we hadn't talked to anyone from home in so long. We were like, what are you even talking about? Like,
So we're cruising along, doing these shows as best we can with like the scenery of snow and madness passing us by, and we're thinking like, okay, well, look, we set aside these 10, 12 days to be music days. And we were right. We could go back to what sounds like a goddamn nightmare. Not that we like don't love our significant others, but like they were doing okay. They just couldn't find some pleasantries that they wanted. Or we could just find any way to like do music, right?
Right.
And so when we were thinking about what was happening, as the shows were canceling, and we saw that we had a window, particularly in Albuquerque, we're like, look, you guys, Ships Have Sailed, you got a camera, you got a decent lens.
Yeah, he did.
Right.
Let's throw it up. You know, I filmed most of our stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it looks like someone else is filming, but in reality, every scene that Ryan is not
the drummers filmed it.
The drummer filmed everything except for like the 3 scenes that don't feature him, which we had the drummer from the other band film.
That's pretty cool.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
And then the other video you filmed the whole thing, and I just kind of
pretty cool.
like, look, Saturday, I have some awesome videos of me like eating a banana while like
you want to
hiding in the, like, if you see a couch in the scene, I'm like lying down on that couch in the background. Like, it was cool though, like, because the way we had it set up, like they were actually playing drums.
Yeah. And
like the music was actually playing out of the speakers. So it was kind of like a weird, like, oh my God, this is our last show for so long. Because it sounded like a house show, and we thought like the Airbnb lady would be so mad at us. And she ended up texting us like the nicest message, like, glad you enjoyed your time.
That's good.
It was so nice. We're like, really? Because you just moved all your furniture around and ripped out your lights from all the bedrooms.
We dropped a painting.
Yeah, we dropped a painting. We took the lamps, we took the shades off to like light us all. Like, and if you go back and if you pause the video at certain points when we're doing like the full band segment for us, you'll see speakers that are sitting on this like half wall in the room,
blaring.
Like those are blaring. That's blaring the music, like the music of the music video, so that we can keep time.
And she was there, like she was in the building,
God.
right? Like, she was living in the back house, and we were like, okay, let's just do it as fast as we can.
Get it done.
Like, I was like, Ryan, you got to stop hitting that snare drum so hard. Like,
I hit it.
Yeah,
wasn't even hitting some parts of it.
Which is
and the side snare. Don't forget the side snare.
Oh, the fuck! Oh, you know about the side snare.
We scrapped the side snare for the video. God damn it!
Yeah.
Damn.
I still haven't mic'd it up for any of our recordings because I hate it that much. I've been lying to Ryan and saying we don't have enough mics, but.
Yeah, we actually didn't have enough mics to mic up the side snare. Well, kind of speaking about some other stuff you were doing while things were getting canceled, I was following you guys on Instagram the whole time, and I saw that you were doing some shows in like the lobbies of the hotels you were staying in. Like, how did that come about? Was it just like some impromptu stuff? And was that kind of the only way you saw yourself doing live shows?
You did it, so I'll explain it as best I can, right?
Go ahead. You were there.
Yeah, so the first one that happened, we had 2 shows canceled on us in one day. One of them was 24/7 or 24 hours in advance. 24/7.
Again, this is all thinking
24/7.
How can we make this about music while the world is kind of falling apart?
Yeah, so we had a gig cancel, 2 gigs in one day. One was 24 hours in advance, one was 48 hours in advance. And we were like at the hotel that like, you know, we had already paid for. And Ryan actually ended up talking to like the waiter and like told him like our situation. And he just like responded so positively. And he like brought like the manager over, and he was like, yeah, like if y'all want to play, like I'll give you a free,
that's awesome.
You know, like it wasn't like a big payout or anything, but I will say, you know, like they gave us like a really nice like $50 steak dinner, which I haven't eaten ever.
It is,
like maybe in my
that's worth it.
That's worth it.
Something that nice. And then the next day, I think someone that was at that show had texted someone like a women's empowerment group or something like that. Actually,
someone on Instagram apparently saw us playing
just
on Ships of Sail's social media, and I don't know if it's Instagram or Twitter or Facebook.
It was Facebook. She posted in like a women's empowerment Facebook page, and there's like this awesome business owner in Denver that owned like a Dutch coffee shop, and she was like, hey, like if you just want to like play outside, like she like owned part of the sidewalk, so like it was cool for her to have a show on the sidewalk. Like she had like a little patio out there, and like, you know, like the social distancing had kind of started to kick in too, which was like she was super good about that. You know, like we had like our own space sort of, and it was like dope to see like people that actually cared about live music. And like it's sad to think about them now, because like you know, all of those businesses are like forced to close now. Like we were really riding the last wave of like doing it, even though we were being pretty safe. Like we weren't like sharing mics, we weren't doing any of that. We got tested for it actually in Albuquerque. I don't know if we told you guys that, but
I remember you walked it like right as you pulled up. We're like, we got tested. It's all right. And even though I had my jug of hand sanitizer, and I was like, okay.
And that was weird.
That was so bizarre. Well, actually, they wouldn't let all 4 of us get a test. They only let our drummer get they were like, we can test one of you.
They did not let us. They just said, look, our recommendation is like, if you guys have, based on your story, you've been together
for 10 days.
Sure,
10 days.
They were like,
if one of you has it, you all have it. So just test one of you.
Okay.
So we tested the guy that has kids, because none of the other dudes do. So we were just like, like he's fine.
Yeah.
And,
all right.
Here's the most steak going home, and
sorry, a lot of talking.
No, you're good. I have here as a transition in my notes, just who Whitney. I don't know what I was trying to put, but I think I was trying to ask the question is like, where does the Whitney come from in Quitting Whitney? If you guys can elaborate on the name a little bit and kind of give some insight.
So Barney's Beanery actually ties back to the Troubadour
in Barney's Beanery in West Hollywood,
So there's like a bunch of stories about like Janis Joplin and John Bonham going there, which I did not know at all.
Wow.
When we came up with the name.
It's a bar, but it's a bar restaurant. There's like nice pool tables. And in our earlier like photography, you'll see that we're always like playing pool and doing stuff like that. We used to play pool a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun. Like that's how we met. Like Ryan and I were playing like session playing in another band. Like I was playing bass and he was playing drums, and there was this other singer.
Long story.
Who it was not good. We did not like him. But him and I got along well, and we would play pool at Barney's. And there was like just this super nice like server who like still follows us. Like we're super good friends with. Who would just always like give us free drinks while we were playing pool and like. I feel like hang out and stuff, and we were trying to come up with names. Like we were like writing like hundreds of names. And we were like, oh, like Whitney's kind of a cool name, and it starts with a W. And then we were like, oh, Quitting Whitney kind of flow. Like I don't want to like, you don't want to read too much into it. Like it was kind of just like shit, like there's
That's
not a
cool.
lot of bands that start with a Q. Like if you search Quitting Whitney, we're
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys come up right away.
that's it. Like, that's it forever.
Yeah, Whitney was. I mean, she's super nice, and we were recording our first couple of tracks at Cascade Rehearsal Studios, which Matt worked at for a while. And we were tracking in there, and the only place that was like open that had like decent food and a bar was this Barney's Beanery place in West Hollywood. And I think that Whitney, like, she was like working the day shift, and we came in a couple of times, and I think the third or fourth time after she heard our story, she was like, I don't know if these guys have any money, so I'm just gonna start comping their drinks and their food, because they look like they're nice guys, but they seem like they're poor. So like we would go in there, we'd like buy a bunch, like a round of beers and a pizza, and she would only charge us for like one beer and the pizza, and we were so thankful to that. And the day that we were thinking of names on a napkin, like she was like part of that process, and Whitney was on the napkin.
We had a bunch of different like ideas too. Like there was something else. What was the other name that we came up with? It was like a famous makeup artist. Like that was a big deal. We thought we had come up with our name, and then we looked up on YouTube, and it was like this huge, like really popular, like makeup tutorial artist.
I forget.
It might have been like it was something Whitney, I think, too.
Oh, okay.
But the
I want to say it was Feeling Whitney, but that's like a Post Malone song, so I don't think that was what it was.
But we had pressure because I think at midnight or the next day, Turnaround was coming out, and we had to have a name for it.
Yeah.
And that was our first track. So we had
could have been worse though, like the Butthole Surfers, you know. Like,
their
worst names.
You better be careful. People are gonna steal that name if you don't lock down on that. The Butthole
Copyright
Surfers.
it right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, yeah, we had to renew our website domain the other day. And it was like, according to traffic, it's worth $500. And I was like, fuck that. I was like, we're gonna renew it now. Renew.
Yeah, we had a similar experience.
Santa Monica Brewworks, by the way, who sponsored tonight's set.
Oh yeah.
Hey, shout out. Go check them out. We'll try to include a link in wherever this comes out.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, we had a similar kind of rough situation with our name for the venue. We were called the Grange for the first like 2 months.
Yeah.
Until the Brotherhood of Farmers that is the Grange kind of was like, hey, we're gonna sue you if you don't stop using our name. So we're just like,
really?
What is the Grange?
It's a Brotherhood of it's a farmers association that was like started 200 years ago. And
200 years ago?
Yeah, it's some yeah.
When y'all told me that, I thought it was like ZZ Top, like Love Grange.
Oh well, yeah.
God.
Well, Grange means like small farm and house, and this where the venue is used to be my grandparents' farm, and everyone just like thinks this building, the venue itself, looks like a house. So we were like, oh, it's the perfect fitting name. And then we did our first 2 shows, and they were like, yeah, you gotta stop, or we're gonna like come down hard on you guys and sue you.
Yeah.
So the markets are so obviously different. Like you're
they were just like
selling food.
Yeah, I don't know. They apparently sued a lawyer that was operating under his last name, Grange, and I was just like, they won. So I was like, okay, we're they won. So I was like, okay, we're not gonna mess with this. Let's just drop the G and like subtly change our name and like hopefully keep the fan base we started with.
Goodness.
But
I was in a band in high school. We used to be called Goat.
Like,
the place
by Tom Brady.
The place that we practiced at literally had like because I'm from Virginia, like we practiced at my drummer's house. He lived out in the country and had like a shit ton of goats. We're just like, fuck it, our name's gonna be Goat. It turns out there's a Swedish metal band named Goat, and like,
okay,
they hit us up, and then we were like, whatever. Like we were playing like more poppy rock than like what even like Ryan and I play, like more like folk pop almost. And then like we had our first like big show. We were opening actually for Hopalong and Lucy Dacus, which is crazy looking back. Like Lucy Dacus went to my high school, and now she's like blown up. And then Hopalong was like just coming out of Philly at the time. Anyways,
I don't know who Hopalong is.
It ended up selling out, and we had all of these super angry like comments that were like, "You're not the Swedish death metal band."
Oh no.
So we ended up like unofficially changing our name to like Go and Tell, because we were like, it's G-O and Tell. And we're like It was not a good look. It was not a good
Yeah.
look. It was good to move on, honestly.
Definitely.
But
we all have to go through.
You live and learn.
Yeah.
Quitting Whitney is not taken.
Yeah.
Okay.
By anyone. Remotely.
We own all the domains and the copyrights.
And no one has quit this very nice young lady who's out there in the real world. She's super.
I know. I feel bad. People are like, who is she?
Who is she?
Like, what did she do to you?
What was the divorce like? She's out there.
No, yeah, that was one of our Instagram questions too. We reached out on Instagram.
She came to one of our shows.
Get one of her shows.
Recently.
Yeah, she's very supportive of the band.
Occasionally tunes into a live stream or so.
Nice.
But no, like,
yeah, you can follow.
We have
her.
not quit Whitney.
No one has quit her.
Contrary to popular
very,
belief.
very much still playing her.
I don't know. I think it has some like alternate stuff. You know, it has some like alternate meaning. Like it.
Yeah. There's.
Like it can be, I don't know. It's about just like leaving stuff behind.
Yeah,
like if you want to be like the artsy way around it.
Yeah,
you know?
for
like
me,
how we came up with it was very like it sounded cool. But now I'm like, you know, like I look back on it and I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool. Like
for me, it means like because I left my job to do this music and I chose to not get another job to keep it going.
Yeah.
So. For me, it represents like getting rid of what's holding you back from doing what you want to do.
Well, also, I mean, I don't know if y'all know, but he was in like a pretty big pop punk
East Coast band,
East Coast band for a while.
East Coast.
For what, like 8 years ago? 8 or 9 years ago?
Yeah, we had a pretty decent following, and you know, we had a chance to do some good stuff, and we sort of left the opportunity for a variety of reasons, and yeah, like
getting screwed
a
little bit, getting screwed by Sony.
I don't know if there's any there's no pleasurable story of rising to the top of the music ranks, but I kind of hung up my hat for music for a while and got an honest job.
Oh, wow.
And came along, I had a couple of sort of personal requirements of what I would be comfortable with jumping back into. Music came back along, and what we were putting together kind of met a lot of those. And if not,
it was very organic.
Yeah, it was very
like
organic.
Looking back on it, because I mean, you've been in a part of a lot of bands, and I have too. You know, usually it's like, I need a bass player, I need this.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like I was pursuing music. Like I recently moved to LA, like just playing in like session bands and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it was like we all were going out to drinks or something. I don't know. Like it was
fluid with us.
It was very bizarre. It honestly, I had asked, you know, like I had all these songs that I wanted to record, and I had asked Ryan, and you know, like how much did you charge? He was like, oh, like I'll just like do it, dude. And so like
that's perfect,
which is like super rare in LA.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like I knew he didn't have to do that, and that was, you know, like it was super cool, and it was just kind of like, I think we've become pretty close in like the year and a half that we've known each other.
Nice.
Are you guys living together now? Are you guys in the same house or apartment or?
No.
Well, because I see you guys in the. I don't want to imply anything.
Quitting Whitney love.
But
no,
I see you guys on Instagram all the time doing the live sessions. I just kind of assumed you guys were in the same house.
Yeah, honestly,
maybe one day it could make sense.
Yeah, like we've talked about that. But yeah, no, we each have like a girlfriend that we live with.
Nice.
And we actually live like for LA like pretty far from each other.
Okay.
It's really hard. We have a studio which we've been lucky enough to rent. It's really small, but it's only $300 a month, which for LA is like
nice.
That's pretty good.
That's
nothing.
Great, yeah.
Dirt cheap.
Like you split it, you know, we split it with a couple other guys.
That's dinner
and girls.
Places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got like a super good girl drummer that we split up to. Yeah, no, we live honestly like right now we only live like 25 minutes away, but when LA was like full speed pre-coronavirus, it was like an like solid hour. to get.
Yeah.
And the studio is like 5 minutes from his house. So it's like an hour for me and like 5 minutes for this dude. But
kind of close.
Yeah.
But I've been, since the traffic's been so like, there's just been no traffic. I've been coming down here like 5 days a week. Like I've been working.
That's perfect.
I've literally been working here like 50 hours a week probably.
Nice.
Just like I've been recording a few other people's projects and then like we're trying to do like an album now, sort of like, which we didn't think we were gonna do an album at least for another year, and now it's just like, well, what else?
Yeah, what else are we gonna? What else do we got going on?
I'm gonna pee.
Might as well.
I gotta go.
I'll hold it down.
Well, I guess sort of switching gears here. I guess sort of switching gears here. I have a question for you guys. How did you establish, or how did you go about establishing the sound of your band?
I don't think there's like been a formal like this is what we should do. For me personally, I come from like a kind of fast-paced pop punk,
nice.
Rock background as far as drumming. I like to hit hard as I can, and just be a decent presence. But I also understand and respect the theory of what we're trying to put together as far as music is concerned. Like when I can hit hard, I'm going to do it. When I have to pull back or should, I'm going to respect that, because that's what what is going to make the song better. And so, and Matt has he has a tremendous amount of knowledge with theory, with playing, and he's a guitarist,
nice.
A bassist, pianist, and does vocals. And we didn't really we're chatting about like how like the sound of the band came to be, and
you might have different opinions.
I know, right? And I was saying how like we never had like a formal discussion on creating it, but like as time has gone on, I've always kind of been the one who's like, how can we make this jive with the live audience, which is ironic for a moment like this, but that's the truth. So it's like when we're putting together music, I'm like, is this a moment where I can just hit the kick drum and like get the audience clapping or getting excited? Or is this a moment where like you can go out into some other part of the stage and like just sing to them and I pull back? But we've never really been like, we need to sound like this, because I think that our two backgrounds are different enough where the Venn diagram of us kind of makes it's complementary once we finally land on a decision. Like once there's a guitar lick or an idea that's presented and I add some drums to it, we can both hear and kind of complement and create the track out of that sort of force of will from both sides.
I can definitely hear what you're saying represented in your music, like especially in You Ever, that song, and what you're describing with like the crowd interaction. I wish I heard it live, like with the audience, but I could already tell during the live session that
we've never heard it live with an audience, to be honest with you. No one that actually knew the lyrics.
No, that was released the day we left for tour.
Yep.
And I think maybe we played it one time.
We played it once to a very,
but like it was unreleased and like no one knew what it was.
So it's like, if you ever heard the words, sing it out, that delay, everyone's confused as like, did you forget the words? Like, what is that gap in time?
It's this crowd anthem that like,
if you hear it recorded enough, you'd be like, that's the time where the audience can be like really screaming those lyrics, those words. And we've never even heard it sung back to us. So but that's kind of the thing. Like Matt presents this idea of like, what if we did a track that's kind of like, it has this guitar riff, which is like bam, 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 bam.
It was a synth riff.
Synth riff, sorry.
And then it became a guitar riff.
And then what if we delay the delivery of the final like kind of
it's like on the
part
and,
of the lyric.
Right?
Yeah, it's on the and, it's on the up. And
Yeah, write a verse, you can sing so loud. You can sold out crowd.
For a while, I'm like,
it was fun.
Should my drums hit on that beat, or should like we let the audience take over that and just leave it as a regular beat? And I ended up landing on like a kind of mix where it's just like I do like a triplet kick almost, and then when he does that, and I'm hitting a cymbal to help accent that.
Except the last one isn't on it.
Except the last one is not on it. And to transition us into
we're gonna have to like conduct for our like first show.
Yeah.
1 and 2, 3 and 4.
So you can kind of see in just that exchange between us right now. It's like that's sort of like the process we go through for our writing as of late. Like
it's been getting more collaborative. Like I would say good, like especially I mean you maybe that might be hard with me, but like Turnaround, another one coming over was more like me bringing
there were tracks
almost
available,
finished songs
to put drums to them and let's get it going.
And like even this EP was like still a lot like that, but like I would still bring it to him like somewhat unfinished and be like, hey, like I don't like these lyrics, or I don't like this bass line, or I don't like this melody, or you know, like I do a lot of drum programming too, but I hate how electronic drums sound on rock tracks so much. Like I love an occasional like clap, or like if you need to do a 30-second 64th note on the hi-hat, then sure, like you know, you can trigger that. But yeah, like especially like we've been writing, you know, as I said, we've been down here like 5 days a week, and like Ryan's been nice enough to like come to, you know, when I'm recording vocals and shit like that. Like it's been it's like every step has been like a little more collaborative, and I think it's just like me getting a little less like selfish with it almost, you know. I think there's like a very like easy way that songwriters can be like, oh, it's like mine, and like I wrote the lyrics and like it's my song and I'm gonna you know, I'm gonna write every part. It's like sometimes you have to be like, you know what, like
it's definitely a good dynamic to have. When,
it's like you know,
like
probably
that collaboration.
every idea I have is not the best idea. So like let me like throw it at this guy and he'll be like, no, this is like a bad, like you shouldn't do this.
Don't do that.
Like don't do that. And I'm like, no, like the other day we were writing something where I was like, what was it, man?
Which song?
It was like kind of like a love song, but then there's like this part where they're like breaking into a house or something like that. And I had this like really weird detail about like this girl or like person like having like a, you know, like classic like DIY earring, like with a safety pin, and like Ryan just like I don't even, you'll have to listen to it when it comes out, but like flipped it,
like, get that out of here.
Using the safety pin to like pick a lock, and I was like, obviously that's what it should have been. I don't know why I spent all this time like detailing who this person is, when like the real story is you're breaking into a house and you're using a safety pin to do it, and not that like you're breaking into a house, oh, and this random person over here is also got a safety pin stuck to their fucking ear. It's like,
what does that make sense?
You just like miss shit when
the
you're
story
writing
building.
them, you know? Like you miss dumb stuff. I think a lot.
You know, I can hear the consonants that is, and the word structure and the words he wants to use. I can hear why he's going for some of these particular words, because
rhymes.
They rhyme and the consonants line up, and the cadence of saying that word in the way that Matt sings them makes sense for a song. But I'm like, if you just take those same words and just basically just swap them a little bit, or add some other filler words to make the sentence mean something different, you'll get the same effect sonically, but as far as the meaning of the line, it's going to be totally different. Maybe a little bit more in line with the song.
Yeah.
Well, so it's been that.
We kind of wanted to ask you guys if you had any favorite artists from where you're at, just on the rise. Maybe you wanted to give them a shout out
from LA.
Just, who you're listening to over there in LA.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna leave this to you.
There's so many. I'm gonna start actually with some Richmond artists, because that's like where I was from a year ago, and I think there's like a bunch of like really cool like niche stuff coming out of there. Lobby Boy is really good. fronted by Ches Goodspeed. Super good. She wasn't even like hardly singing when I was in school with her, but like put together this awesome band. They're super good.
Nice.
Mana Tree, that's like a band that's been around for a while.
Okay.
But they were like really big, weirdly, like when I was in high school and stuff like that. But they're still putting out music. As far as bands in LA, Glass Battles is really good. They're like a electro funk, no, like electro rock band, but the guy is like super talented. Like his, not that this matters, you know, it's all about audio for me, but like his Instagram page too is just like super like visually like crazy. Like he has like a whole like video game aesthetic and stuff,
awesome.
which is
that ties back to what we were talking about before. Like being a musician is like the last on the list of what you gotta do nowadays. Like you gotta be like some sort of other content curator.
I don't know. I mean, Ships Have Sailed, obviously. Like Ships Have Sailed.
Hell
like,
yeah.
Definitely look up to those guys as like a duo. There's a lot of single artists in LA for sure. Like, and like there's a few bands, but not a lot. Like,
not a ton.
It's a lot of like singers.
Yeah. And
it's a lot of singers.
I would give her a shout out to my girl Lauren Salvo, who goes by Salvo on you know, Instagram and Spotify and whatnot, and she's been doing incredible work and out here in LA hustling along with us, and some of the tracks she's been getting done are super catchy and fun, and she's fighting a good fight along with us, and she's doing well.
Nice.
Well, we're gonna have all of who you mentioned down below in the description, so we can make sure they get some exposure.
Camp
but while we're
Very
we'll add them too. But while we're on the topic of Spotify, if you guys, I know you're using your phone for this call right now, but if you could whip out your other phone and just kind of go through some recently played on Spotify, and then we'll do the same on our end, just to kinda get some more exposure from who we're listening to out there.
Don't say that. All right, recently played. All right, well, I have one of our playlists. Honestly, I mostly listen to like a playlist I've been putting together for Quitting Whitney.
My phone.
Yeah, I saw on your guys' Spotify page, you guys have your individual playlists too, right?
What?
I saw on your Spotify page, you guys have your individual playlists for fans to listen to.
I'm pushing Ryan to add some more.
I need to add.
Mine is pretty stacked.
I've been listening to too much news, not because I'm a news junkie, but more I want to like know if I'm gonna die.
Yeah. That's very understandable.
That's sort of what I'm listening for. It's like, hey, what do I need to do tomorrow to not have that happen? So my music has been a little bit less than
I think
my local NPR.
Especially with like the news in the last 2 days, which is just incredibly sad. It's like
it's been
real. It's just like how I mean, it's like I feel weird even talking about it, like from my position of privilege and shit, but it's just like fucked up. Like, and like, you know, what can I do? Like I'm doing the best I can to do like get out the word and stuff, but it's like
I think we're
just fucking horrible president, supportive, horrible law enforcement capabilities, and like I don't know. Anyway, sorry. I was like talking about the news. I was like flashback.
It's been heavy. It's been heavy.
It's too heavy, man. It's too heavy. It's shit like that should happen. But
read this. So
so are we starting or are you guys starting? This is my personal one.
Yeah, just go ahead, and then we'll go with Matt, and then or Maddie, and then I'll go.
Okay. Yeah. Are you? I mean, you can even like come up. So yeah, I'm kind of just reading off this playlist since I've been like mostly just trying to add. You know, I've been trying to build my playlist, been trying to add songs. Like I listen to a lot of Oliver Tree. Weird.
Nice.
I love that dude. He's probably him and Louis Del Mar, probably like my two favorite artists right now.
Wow.
Yeah, Louis Del Mar just ran. They're like this. They're also a duo, and like even when I met Ryan, this is the band. Like, I'm most inspired by this band. They're like an experimental
Louder
rock project.
Louder by Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Fuck, that song rips, man.
yeah.
That's so good.
They like get all these super like cool drum sounds. They're really experimental. And yeah, like they released an album in 2016 and then randomly decided to like drop 2 singles during quarantine, and they're releasing an album, which is like just was a breath of fresh air. And actually same with Oliver Tree. He's putting out an album the same day we're putting out our EP.
Nice.
We thought about moving the date a little bit, but I was
Are you
like,
gonna grow the hair to look like him too?
I was
Is
gonna
that
say, like,
the goal.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah, I don't know if you saw, but I shaved my head during quarantine.
Can
too.
you get a bowl cut during
Wait, during what? I didn't hear you there.
quarantine?
Yeah, just take one of your. Just go to the kitchen.
Just take a.
Apparently in LA, there's like a whole underground hair.
Oh
Nice.
no!
Like there was a LA Times article about
whatever. Insert thing that you want done.
Oh,
LA
yeah.
has the underground.
Like they're
All right,
still
but
doing it.
Other than Oliver
Somebody's
Tree,
doing
let's see who else we have on here. We have Action. I really like Action Bronson. Pretty weird one.
Nice.
I love it. Ships Have Sailed's on here. I like that.
Of course, yeah.
Tame Impala. Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
That's a good one.
A few 21 Pilot songs, of course.
Of course.
Ooh,
yeah.
Slenderbodies is really good. They're from San Francisco. Camp Howard, who I mentioned earlier. But yeah, just some weird ones too. Like ScHoolboy Q
It's
is
a
on
wide
here.
range too.
Mhm.
Pavement is on here. Krongben. Ooh, they're really good. Go check them out.
We
I don't
definitely
know.
will. We're gonna try to link as many people as we can down, just so we get the word out.
I'll stop there. But dude, yeah, weirdest band name ever. Krongben. Sounds horrible.
Maddie, you wanna take the mantle?
Is it my turn? Yeah. Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been listening to the new 1975 album, and Boy Pablo put out a new song, I think, the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he put out
I
2
haven't
songs, I think. One was a feature with someone else, but yeah, that song's really
I haven't
good.
heard those
That's what I've been jamming to.
I have our Spotify staff picks that we all
Oh,
put
yeah.
out
yeah,
some
I saw that,
playlists.
man.
I've been listening to everyone else's playlist, and the kind of new Peach Pit album, You and Your Friends. Just been playing that on repeat a lot. A new album called Hugo from this kind of local band. They're in El Paso, which is like a few minutes away from Las Cruces.
Mhm.
Juice and the Suds. It's I don't know. I don't want to offend anyone, but it sounds like the Nacho Libre like vibe, and I love it so much, and it's
Nacho!
just it's a really good album. So check them out. But yeah, if you want to kind of move along with some other questions Maddie has.
Yeah, I think it's time to enter this segment of the show where we have some questions from the audience. I believe you put out a poll or a question thing on the Instagram stories, and we have some questions from fans that we'd like to ask you guys. So, what has been your guilty pleasure TV show during the quarantine?
Botched.
Nice.
What is that?
Dude,
It's where the
Botched is actually pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
And I hate reality TV, and I'm amazed I was able to answer that question so quickly.
oh my god,
Yo,
it's like instantly.
but Botched is like this weird. So for anybody who doesn't know what Botched is, which apparently you don't.
I don't know. Sounds horrible.
So- So the premise is like, someone comes into these 2 doctors who are based in LA, and I'm a bad watcher because I don't know their names, but I like watching in passing.
Mhm.
Wait, it's botched plastic surgeries, right?
Right, yeah.
Oh
I
my
think
god.
Debrevro
Nice.
is one guy. Anyways, look, it's someone who has had plastic surgery and it has gone maybe not south in the process, but south over time. It's one of the 2. And they come to these guys who really present plastic surgery in a way it's like not only just an art form and but they also present it as intelligently as a obviously medical procedure. And they highlight the things as like, well, this is probably not what you should do.
Yeah.
And and they do their best to fix them, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes they will tell people who are almost overly superficial, like, no, we're not going to do a procedure on you because that is inhumane, or it's against the Hippocratic Oath or whatever. They bring it is obviously just, you know, sensationalist television on E.
Yeah. The clip go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, they do bring this element of humanity to it, and moral, like they bring a moral layer that I respect. Where I think a lot of reality TV kind of shoves the moral layer aside, and like, fuck it, like let's have all these people just, you know, cheat on their wives and girlfriends and like bang on an island. Whereas this
seems like that was pretty targeted.
Pretty much, yeah. This show at least attempts to recognize what they are focusing on as far as content, and see both sides of it. There's a lot of times when people will go on there, like the one episode I watched in particular, like this young girl got hit by a drunk driver, and it totally messed up her face, and they fixed it, and like that is like legitimately, like morally, like that's awesome. Like the fact that these guys can, you know, she tried to have, I think she tried to have some surgery before it and it didn't work out. And then she came to her because the police suggested it, and they got the appropriate procedure done to help this girl just not only just live a happy life, but as she requested, just smile. Just
That's
smile
definitely good. I'm glad to hear that. Like, because the only clips I've seen of that show, like that really stand out in my memory, are like of one of this girl that she was getting like black market butt injections, and she had like literal concrete in her butt, and it's kind of refreshing to like hear that they're actually like doing some good.
I feel like you're missing out.
That's what they'll fix. You know, that's what you'll hear these two doctors banter back and forth and be like, "Oh my God, who did this to you and how?"
Put concrete in your butt.
Who did this to you? Where were you that this happened? And they'll do their best, you know, within the appropriate medical guidance to like, you know, make like attain your idea of beauty, but also do it within the realms of realism and practical, just, you know, medical science.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
I've been watching. That's my guilty pleasure. That's not what I've been watching.
He's like,
I'm not going home after this and he's like, botch.
Oh, guilty. God. Was it guilty pleasure?
Yeah.
I don't
It's a guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure, man. I really don't. I don't know. I've been watching. I like watch like one show at a time. I've been watching Breaking.
Well, what have you been watching recently?
We have the same YouTube, so I could guess what your guilty pleasure might have been.
Oh, what is it?
Based on the search feeds,
is it Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan, John Oliver, and for sure Breaking.
Oh yeah, so yeah, Breaking Bad is the one that I've been like.
Nice.
I never watched it, so like Ryan's already seen it.
So has the rest of the planet.
Yeah, the rest.
It was so funny because like we were in Albuquerque, they all went to like see his house,
and
I'd never seen an episode, and I was like, I stayed in the car. I was like, I don't
like, why are we in this neighborhood?
Yeah, that's exactly. There was like an old weird woman there that was like giving us a look.
For me, and from Will from Chips and Salad, we knew the gravity of that moment in front of the house. But also so did the owner,
like
who was a giant, let's say they haven't really taken well to the level of attention of houses.
Well, they apparently like had like pizzas thrown on their house because of like Breaking Bad, and like they like there's a big fence around it now, like a black fence.
Oh dang.
So it was somewhat that, and it was somewhat like I was worried about the virus a little bit at the time, and But yeah, as far as guilty pleasure, Breaking Bad. And not even really guilty pleasure. And as far as a good show, I watched Waco, and that shit was
nice.
Crazy.
That was wild. Because of Matt, I watched Waco too, and that's like, you know what?
Yeah.
The government is messed up. Like if you watch that show, you're like, oh my! It was enlightening. I was like, holy shit! They don't give a fuck about you.
Nope.
They don't give a shit.
Well. we also had this question.
What is your favorite guilty pleasure? Guilty, not your
prepared
favorite.
For that. Even though it was
your guilty pleasure.
Matt, do you have anything you can? Oh, Matt and I have been watching Impractical Jokers. And like,
it's been a while.
Like I hate when I'm watching it, but it like I get into it, and it's just like, why am I laughing at this?
Oh, honestly, you know what? Guilty pleasure. I figured it out. Shark Tank.
Yes.
That's not even a guilty pleasure. I watch that like every episode that comes out. I wait for them. It's not even a guilty pleasure for me.
Like my girlfriend and I will occasionally watch it just to like talk. You know, like sometimes you just gotta yell at the TV.
Yeah, we're just like brainstorming. I use it for brainstorming purposes. I'm like, what am I gonna do next? Like, how do I adapt on these? And like,
oh no, we have like Shark Tank ideas, stuff like that. You know,
yeah,
constantly trying to come up with like these horrible fucking ideas.
Yeah, and it's always funny when they put the one in each episode that it's like to laugh at, essentially, even though it's kind of bad. But I don't know.
It's so mean, dude. It's so bad.
Yeah. Well, we had this other question from the Instagram audience. Your friend hands you the aux. What do you play? Even though we were just talking about some Spotify picks and recent listens, what would you want to play first?
Shit. Without looking at my Spotify. Yeah, like still probably Louis Del Mar. Maybe Tame Impala, because I feel like that's like a little more accessible to like most people that listen to pop music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if someone hands me the aux right now, actually, let's play. What would you guess the other person would play?
If someone hands me the aux,
what would Ryan play? I think Ryan would play some Blink 182.
Probably.
Nice. Classic.
I think that. Yeah.
What would you actually play? And guess what I said.
Oh, guess what you said.
Yeah, guess what I said.
No, I do think it's a song. A song or
song. Yeah, song.
What's the first song you play?
It would. Yeah, it'd probably be a Blink song. It'd probably be the Anthem Part 2.
Nice. That's a throwback. Yeah.
What do you think I would play in the car? If we get in the car after this and ride out into the sunset.
Yeah, what's playing?
As the nuclear bombs fell on Los Angeles. Folsom Prison.
Oh, that's a good guess. I do like that song.
I
said like Tame Impala.
Well, I would say I guess Folsom Prison because it connects you to your dad.
Yeah, it does. It does.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, we played that song a few times since my dad actually came out to LA just to see one show, which was super cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
Since they're from Richmond, and my dad hasn't seen me play probably since like high school,
right?
At least 3 or 4 years. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
weird stuff.
Before we kind of wrap up and give you the floor to plug whatever else you have going on, EP coming up and some other things, we kind of wanted to ask what specific advice you would give to some new and like up and coming or starting musicians to help them along their journey.
Oh man,
the big one.
I'll go first. You've been going first a lot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I don't really know that.
I'm like the seasoned, like the worn
just
down, like old.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay, so yeah, actually, then that's exactly what I want. I want you to correct everything I say.
Okay.
So I would say, like, don't really pay that much attention to what other people are doing, because like every artist that seems to do well is like unique and is uniquely them, and I think people always see through it when you're not.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, there's exceptions. You know, like. One of my main jobs before like this virus hit, I was working for a really, really great songwriter with Warner, who has written for a lot of pop artists.
Nice.
And a lot of those pop artists probably are not super genuine when they're singing his songs, but to him they're genuine, and they have a genuine origin. Well, so like I think you should just like Like it's so cheesy. Like I feel like you start.
I think that's some great advice.
Hard.
Yeah.
And then it's like learn guitar, learn music theory, learn how to do this, learn how to produce, and like make like get as close as to this sound as you can. And then like eventually like you get to the top and you're like, oh shit. You just need to make like whatever like sounds good to you because like no one's gonna be like you.
Yeah, at a certain
point, you know.
At a certain point, you gotta.
So now Ryan's gonna crush my soul.
No, I feel like that. Well, here, I'm gonna continue with your questions. Like, what in the year that we have been doing this?
Oh, and one more thing.
Project.
If you don't have to do it, like if you don't like feel like you'd fucking die if you like did anything else. Like that's how I felt. That's why I moved to LA. Like I moved to LA. I graduated college in 3 years because I was like, fuck, I can't do this anymore.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I was already like 2 years into a journalism degree and I was like, okay, whatever. And then moved out here. And it's just like, if you can see yourself doing anything else, then you should do anything else, honestly, I think. Because like, it's just so fucking hard. And like, so many people tell you no.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like, even if like, you know, there are artists that I think are doing a phenomenal job, especially from like my hometown, which is like smaller, that it's just like, they're just, you know, gets no. And it's like, if you don't have to do it, then you're probably not like built for it. But if you like have to like make yourself happy, like you go crazy if you didn't do it, then like maybe. Yeah. And I feel like that's where I've been at like the last 2 weeks. I'm like, you know what, this is my 50-hour week job because, you know, I lost my job while we were before. And like, you know, I'm like, but you know, I can lose my job, I can have no money, I can be poor as shit, but as long as like I am still like making something and I can like create something, like I'll be fine.
Nice.
So sorry, that was cheesy as fuck.
No, that's good.
Break me down, baby. Break it down.
No, I think all of that. If I may, I don't know if we're out of time or if I could add in one question.
Go ahead.
Over the last year, you know, since August, basically, since our first managerial legit show, what has been the biggest takeaway of the process of doing this? And I'll obviously come back to answer the question too, but of the process of being like creating a brand and a band, what from August until May of 2019 to 2020 has been your biggest kind of like, oh, so this is how it is, learning more?
I mean, most of it's been good stuff. Like, kind of what I said earlier, like I've never really co-written with anybody. Co-writing is super hard. And it's really, really hard when you're not like, you know, again, I worked for a guy that it was like, okay, this person is on Warner's label and this person is on Warner's label and you guys are going to write together. Especially. Where it's like, okay, I met this guy and we're just going to start writing together now. And like slowly easing into that was like really enlightening. And just like having to convince people to come to your shows is so like brutal. Yeah. And like, you know,
we've learned a similar thing.
Like, you know, definitely like when I was in college, especially like I was in some math rock bands and like some more obscure stuff, and like you kind of hated on the bands. I was like, oh, they're sellout. They're selling 20,000 tickets, and now I'm like, you sold how many tickets? Like, how the fuck did you do that? Because that's where the money is, you know. Whereas before I was like, oh, this is so musically complex, and it's like, oh, well, that's fantastic, but like, you know, I've almost come to respect more the bands that are like still pretty complex, or like at least still have like a very good like production technique. That like are still able to be like, yeah, well, we're like we're musically complex, we have great producers, and like we're selling 20,000 tickets. You know, like that's like holy. I mean, like Wolfpack. I don't know if you guys listen to them at all.
I've listened to them. There's definitely a line between being niche and like establishing your unique crowd, but then like being too niche that like you can't get traction and build it up.
Yeah, like that was like, we always talk about that. Like, we know that we're not going to be like like we're not Katy Perry. But like there is like a certain lane for like rock and for like experimental and for like,
we just don't have the asset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And all the necessary musical talent.
No. But I do think like niches are the way to go. Like my music teacher in college, that was his big thing. He was like, "There's riches and niches, bitches." And never forget that. He's like, because like if you spread yourself too thin, like you're.
Yo, those are words to live by, right there.
That's his pinned tweet.
It's like you're never gonna get 100% of the population to like you. You're never gonna get 50%. But if you can get 1%. Or even 0.5% to like love you, you're fucking fine.
Yeah,
I mean
that's like people to buy your shirts. Like, oh my god, if we had 1 billion casual Spotify listeners, we'd still be poor.
Right.
But if we had 1,000 people that bought every T-shirt we came out with, then we'd be fine. Like it's like it's better to have like the hardcore niche fans than the like softcore fucking like radio something.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was. That segue is nice to like one of the points that I would say about, advice to young musicians is like, you're probably looking at how to market yourself to the widest audience. And the truth is like, don't kill yourself to do that, because
market yourself to your friends.
To Matt's point, like, find.
If you like your music and your friends like your music, then there's probably a lot of other people like that.
If it's math rock, guitar, synth based tracks that focus on, The Legend of Zelda, have at it.
Maybe.
Like, who knows? Like,
I would probably listen to that.
I
know he would listen to that.
It's like, if you know that, link us please so we can
That's one facet of the learning curve that you'll have as a young musician. For me, like, the lessons I have learned have been like the average lifespan of actually becoming relevant is about a decade. So just accept that as truth. And if you can beat that curve, good job. Because on your journey to trying to beat that curve, there will always be your friend or some other band that came up with you that will beat you to notoriety ahead of time, but also understand that you need to look under the surface and see, like, okay, did their uncle work for Island? Did their cousin work for Universal? There's always more to the story, and don't beat yourself up and get down because someone else has put together a career faster than you have.
And not to contradict everything, but also there's all these like haters and stuff that did music for a year, and they're like, somebody, you just, it's like, like you may have like known one or two people, but like, most people that are overnight successes still on that 10-year timeline.
Damn straight.
Like, it's like
Imagine Dragons.
Like people that are
you just noticed them overnight. It wasn't an overnight success.
Exactly. They were playing for years along with artists. And if they beat that curve, there's most likely more to the story, or they just got a stroke of luck. So
that's a curse too, though. Well, Nas X, I don't know if we'll hear from him again.
If you accept that trajectory as a goal to beat, you're probably better off. And if you're willing to put in the time to make music a career, know that a decade is what you're looking at until you even become relevant, until you're even like
working
at the beginning of the mainstream of not mainstream, like me. So there's that part of it, and there's also the lesson of don't take the first offer you get for almost anything, because there's going to be a fuck ton of noise, and I'll use better language for if you need to edit this, a lot of noise that comes your way as you develop your sound as an artist, as a female, as a bunch of a bunch of guys, doesn't matter. There'll be people who are reaching out to you that may have, malintentions, and you want to really carefully curate and look at what they're offering, why, and understand the deal points. It's tough because when you're doing music and you want someone to notice, the second that somebody
my God,
you just want to grab on and be like, thank you for noticing. You are there and you're hearing me.
Yeah.
But the chances of that being legitimately helpful to you.
Oh my. Well, Ryan is definitely like, oh God, I thought I was good at like recognizing scams, and there's definitely been times where I'm like, all right, here it is. We got this show, we got this or whatever, and then like you look at the fine print, it's like, oh yeah, they're not going to pay you. Oh, they're going to charge you this much. Yeah. Like LA is a super big pay to play like city. So like in LA they might charge you.
Yeah. The devil.
We've been lucky like to never do this, but like LA they might be like, all right, you pay $500 for a stage. We're going to give you 50 tickets. So if you sell them each at $15, then you make $250. But if you don't sell them,
you're still out. Yeah.
Losing a lot of money.
And even if you do, you're still
Right.
You know. And that's, even if you sell them all, it's like, okay, whatever, $250. We got 4 or 5 guys in the band. Who the fuck cares about $50? You know.
And
we have not had to do that.
Thank God.
Thank the Lord, because oh my God, we've had gigs where we got paid nothing.
Right.
I mean, we definitely had gigs where we got paid nothing, but I think everyone does that. We haven't had a gig where we like lost $400.
Thank God. But I think that expands to what I was like, more like deals, management, distribution. That kind of thing.
Oh fuck
the first
you got like 8 album deal or something.
The first thing that comes the devil's in the details, and as much as your instincts might want to be like, oh my God, finally someone has noticed me. Unfortunately, you're probably gonna have to say thanks, but no thanks, because more often than not, when you read through the contract, it is not fair to you.
Yeah,
and it's really hard to do. Because they might actually put your music somewhere that's good, but
imagine if they were like, "Oh, you'll get as famous as Taylor Swift," but like, you'd be like,
"Well, it's so like Taylor Swift."
Sort of,
because she with her whole lawsuit thing, I was just kind of making a joke, but.
Oh my, well, yeah. So my girlfriend actually works at our distribution company, which is why we were able to get in contact with them pretty quickly. Which is good, but yeah, she talks about like all the different lawsuits and stuff like that, and it's interesting to hear it from her perspective too, because she like in college I studied music a bit, and I studied like my minor was music business, and she didn't study that. She just is like actually doing it, which is like, way better, and like she has more experience.
Yeah,
but like when she hears stuff about the Taylor Swift stuff, she's like, well, like it sucks for her. But she's like, at the same time, she's like, you signed to these people, and they said like, hey, we're taking a huge fucking risk by promoting your music to this level, and if it takes off, we own your masters. And that's like, so now she's like, I mean, like, from an artist standpoint, I get it. Oh my God, it would suck to not own your masters.
Yeah.
But from a like gambling standpoint, if someone was like, hey, we'll make you as famous as Taylor Swift or whatever, and like, but at the end of the day, we're gonna own, whatever they own 100% of. I think they own 100% of her masters, and she owns 100% of the writing or something like that.
I'm not entirely sure, but I think the main point is like
she signed the deal. Like legally, like she's in the wrong. I mean, like it sucks. I don't like Taylor Swift, but like I feel bad for her in a way, like. As a songwriter, I'm like, shit, like, it does suck to not own your music, but at the same time, like, you made a career out of music, so I'm not really... choice.
I think the other point is,
don't feel that bad for you.
As a younger musician, know that, like, look, you don't have to be afraid of distribution deals for your music. Just understand, like, read through the fine print and understand, like, hey, are these songs that I'm about to sign away, are these ones that I can legitimately give away so that I can become a bigger person? Is this EP something I can bless and release so that my name will get out there and I'll write more stuff that is not signed to these people
to continue to start talking about. you know, 6,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 album deals. That's the classic
challenge.
That's the classic deal. 8 fucking albums.
I guess just
although legitimately, what is it? One album, then you renegotiate. So if your first album does poorly, you got to do 8 more albums. But if your first album does really well, usually a lawyer can kind of
wiggle it for you.
If you hire a really good lawyer and get it free in there, start owning your shit. But
it is the music business.
He also went to school at Cliff,
so
right?
Yeah, I did. I went to high school with her to
Nashville, right?
Nashville.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Nice.
And she was lovely.
But her dad bought the record, right?
No, did not buy the record.
He bought the something.
I think the parents contributed to creating part of her debut.
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought they bought a controlling share in like the distribution or something like that. I swear to God, I'm not making this shit up.
It's a conspiracy theory.
This is a person that deep down I love 1989. I think 1989 is a good album.
Bro,
I think
that album slaps. Yeah.
We're gonna ask QAnon.
Who?
Is this real? Is Taylor Swift just part of the deep state?
I mean,
America?
There's always a chance.
There's always a chance.
Right.
But no, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. But anyways,
doesn't matter.
For young artists out there,
your papa cannot purchase you a record label.
Your papa cannot do that. Just find your niche. Keep making grand tunes and have faith. And if you have faith in your music,
you think
stand by it. If you really do think it's worth sticking with, and you get a deal that's going to do a distro deal that they're going to take all the rights, feel free to push back and be like, you know what, I own some of this.
Yeah.
And carve it out as you see fit. Don't be afraid of that.
Nice.
They might respect you more for it. And they being the record labels of distribution.
All right. Well.
Yeah, take pride in what you're making.
Exactly.
Great advice. Thank you guys. Appreciated that. Well, before we close off this episode, I think it's time for us to go ahead and let you guys take the stage. Do you guys have any new music that you've been putting out? Maybe a new music video?
All right, I got it. I got it internalized now.
The EP!
Okay, so we have... Logan heard some of the stuff we were promoting. Number 1, we have a range session coming out.
Yeah.
At 12:30 tomorrow. PST premiere. Tune in. If this is
not sure when this. Yeah, I don't. We'll try to get it out either at the same time or right before.
This will be backdated, I imagine. So you just watched it. Good for you.
Good for you. Point to us.
If you didn't watch it, go watch it.
Pause this video right now. Go watch that. Sorry,
Go watch it.
You have the stage. Sorry.
The link is below or above?
Both.
It'll be everywhere. Around. On.
It'll be around. It'll be all encompassing links. Okay. Number 2. We're doing a giveaway for our next live feed. So we're gonna be giving away like a t-shirt and some shot glasses just for like sharing a post. Then it's my birthday, so like everyone in the world is gonna listen to all of our songs.
Yeah.
On that day as well. And then the next Friday we have our EP coming out.
There it is.
Which will be cool. Yeah, so we're gonna be like trying to promote that.
Do we have a public name for that already?
What?
Do we have a public name for the EP, or is that involved?
We're just calling it the Quitting One EP. Since it's the first EP we put out. We thought it was really But it should be really cool. It was recorded in a continuous take.
Yes.
Which makes it sound like all 4 songs are just like...
That is dope.
That's awesome.
One tune kind of melded together.
They were one file at the point.
They were one file, yeah.
Nice.
So like it's cool, like... I wish we'd released less singles. We released a lot of singles for this. Too many.
Yeah.
But that's what our distribution people told us to do. So, aka what my girlfriend told us to do.
Yeah.
But no, we're like I think it'll be cool because I don't think like our fans know that. Like they've all been like we've just been putting them out as singles. They're not like ordered like that on Spotify at all. They're like ordered in popularity, which I think right now is like 2, 1, and then 3. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be cool for people to like listen through and
listen to it in order.
Which is how it's meant to be. Like, it's like weird for me to listen to the singles because every single one of the singles has a bit of the other song's end like into it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can like hear it like shifting keys, especially with something new into Billy.
Yeah.
So like the single we released right now, like you can actually hear the bass line like at the beginning of the song. Because we literally just like recorded all 4 songs together. And then we were like, all right, where's the best place to chop these? So you can like really like hear the other songs. And like we have like a CD printed, so like a few people have already heard the EP, which is cool. But officially June 12th. And then like we're working 12th. On a shit ton of new music, and like
heck yeah.
We'll have at least a 9-song album by like August. So I don't know, like
hopefully you can catch like, Quitting Whitney like touring with that new album.
Right?
We're back at the range. Hopefully we get you guys back soon.
Oh, we'd love to get back.
Dude, as soon as everything's like safe and open, like, you know, I don't want to play a socially distant show for 10 people, really. I mean, like, that would be better than nothing, I guess.
Sure.
But I don't really want to, like, our shows are so about, like, energy and, like, which sucks. Like, I feel like a dick. You know, I feel like a dick, like, telling people to be like, oh, like, everyone has to be close together. But, like, like we're a rock band. So, like, kind of, you know, like, that's how it works.
It's a strange time, but hopefully we can get, you know.
If we don't play a show for a year, we don't play a show for a year. But when we do play a show,
it'll be the biggest rager of the year.
Damn straight.
And we've been practicing.
Thank you guys for, you know, the opportunity to talk to you for an hour and a half now. I really appreciate it.
It's been a while.
I'm glad we got to catch up, you know, since we last saw you about 2 months ago. I just want to thank everyone else who either is listening or decided to watch, and hopefully we can do more of these and connect with you guys again soon. And check them out. We'll have everything linked below, and merch, CDs, you know, release dates, everyone else that we mentioned. We'll try to, you know, get those people out there. So thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you guys as well. And thank you for doing the work that you do, for hosting us back in March when this was such a question mark for what is going to happen in the country.
Our pleasure.
That was a big deal.
Yeah. And for doing a fantastic job of cutting together what looks like a really sharp video that's coming out tomorrow.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. Drop a comment to share your feedback and let us know who you'd like to see perform next. There are also links in the description to find the band's social media and music. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Check out our website to learn more about concerts and events hosted here at the Range. Join us on Discord to talk about your favorite music and share your creations with the community. Consider checking us out on Patreon to help support more content like this while gaining access to behind-the-scenes footage, giveaways, and more.